Hello, Checkup 1 was assigned as part of our unit review. It's going over adding and subtracting decimals. The first question asks to estimate, so make sure that you are estimating your answers first. So 52 hundredths plus 1 and 2 hundredths, that's about 1 half plus 1 and 1/4, so that'll give you about 1 and 3/4. 4 and 4 tenths minus 1 and 29 hundredths, that's about 4 1/2 minus about 1 1/4, which should give you about 3 3/4. The next problem is asking for the exact answer. 0 and 52 hundredths again, and 1 and 2 tenths. Now in this case, I had to add on the extra 0 so that all the numbers line up. Because remember, when you're adding and subtracting decimals, you line up the decimal places, and then you can add trailing zeros if you need to make them be the same length. So 52 hundredths plus 1 and 2 tenths is 1 and 72 hundredths. Same thing over here, 4 and 4 tenths becomes really 4 and 40 hundredths, so you can subtract it right. Minus 1 and 29 hundredths gives you 3 and 11 hundredths. Use fraction addition to find this sum. What they're saying here is convert it into fractions with common denominators. So 1 and 23 hundredths plus 3 and 9 tenths is the same as 1 and 23 hundredths plus 3 and 90 tenths. We just change our 90 hundredths. We just change our 9 tenths to 90 hundredths. So then we're just adding the 1 and the 3 to get the 4, and the 23 and the 90 to get 113 hundredths. But we can simplify 113 hundredths, subtract out 100, making it 5 and 13 hundredths. This gives an answer of 5 and 13 hundredths. I wanted to go back to 2 to look how our 1b to see how our answers compare to our estimates. So 1 and 72 hundredths is pretty close to 1 and 3/4, and 3 and 11 tenths is a little bit smaller than 3 and 3/4, but at least it's in the ballpark. Okay, going back to 2, we used fractions to find 5 and 13 tenths. Now we're going to try to add without taking fractions and turning them into decimals. So 2 and 4 tenths is just 2 and 4 tenths, but we're actually going to turn it into 2 and 40 hundredths, so we line up right. And 3 and 7 tenths is just 7 hundredths is 3 and 7 hundredths. So 2 and 40 hundredths plus 3 and 7 hundredths is 5 and 47 hundredths. All right, question 3. Every night, Dan's dad puts any pennies or nickels he has in his pocket into a container for Dan. Dan does not remove any money. Dave next door has the same arrangement with his mom. Here's the data from the 3rd week. The tricky one with this, when I saw students working on it, is they didn't realize it's cumulative total. Cumulative meaning it's added up every week. So on Monday, Dave already started with 51 cents, and Dan already started with 72 cents. So on Tuesday, when he had 68 cents, that's because he got 17 cents on Tuesday. So the total on Friday is the total for the whole week. He didn't get $1.63 on Friday. His total for the week is $1.63. That makes a difference when you're answering these questions. Okay, so who had the most on Wednesday and by how much? Here we just look that Dan had $1.02 on Wednesday and Dave had 84 cents. So Dan has more on Wednesday, and then you have to figure out what the difference is. So it's $1.02 minus 84 cents will give you 18 cents. So Dan had 18 cents more. Who made the most over the week and how much? This was a little tricky. If you just looked at the final at the week, you'd see that Dan had $1.76 and Dave had $1.63. So you would think it was Dan who had the most. But don't forget, they both started with money on Monday. Dave had 51 cents on Monday and Dan had 72 cents. So you have to subtract out that initial amount. So if you take Dan's $1.76, subtract out his 72 cents, then that leaves $1.04. That's how much he actually made that week. Where Dave had $1.63, subtract out the 51 cents, and that leaves the $1.12. So really, Dave made the most this week. He made 8 cents more than Dan because he had $1.12. Excuse me. How much would Dan and Dave have if they combined their money? This is just straight decimal addition. $1.63 plus $1.76 gives you $3.39. Let's see, our secret word for this one will be Dan and Dave. Let's just call it Dan and Dave. So if you've done this homework, if you've checked the answers, then write Dan and Dave on your homework. Thank you.